Jade to Obsidian, your Red Rising podcast on spaceships and relationships and everything in between. I am Skipper. I am not joined today by Crescent, but I am joined regularly by Salem. Hi, Salem.
Hello.
And this week we are joined by a whole group of the female Howler podcasters. So returning to the show is Erin and Cassie, and for the first time we have Janelle and Tatiana with maybe a special guest after. Welcome, ladies. Welcome on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi.
Okay, so we'll go around and introduce yourself and let us know what you're drinking. I'm Salem, and I am drinking a strawberry sour.
Ooh. Fancy.
Fancy.
Also say your podcast. Say what podcast you are and rep yourself a bit.
Valid.
I rep the Howlers Den.
There you go.
All right,
I'm
Erin, how about
Erin.
you go next?
I was going to do it. I'm drinking water out of a Travis Kelce cup because I still love them, even though we're big fat losers. And I represent Howler Pod.
Woo.
Oh,
And with my main host, Ben.
There you go. Nice.
I'll go.
you
I'm
go.
Janelle, Strawberry Sovereign from Hail Reaper Pod, and I am drinking water with a ghost straw thing that I got for Halloween trick-or-treating.
Cute.
I mean, my 3-year-old.
all right. I'll go. Cassie with High Key Obsessed, and I am drinking an espresso martini because it is very late and I'm exhausted.
And you fancy.
We're keeping you up past your bedtime.
What's your podcast? Did you say
I
it?
said High Key Obsessed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Tatiana. I'm from the Bookish Banter podcast. I've got a gin and tonic, and it's very fun.
Ooh.
Star Wars mug.
I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, I
Really
want
nice.
one.
Yeah.
Send me a link after.
Yes.
There you go.
Skipper, what are you drinking?
I have hot caramel gin, almost the last of it.
Why
I
is
thought
it
this was
blue?
appropriate because I put purple glitter in it and it somehow went blue.
Oh.
I don't know.
Are you
I
going to
thought it
shit
was-
glitter?
Probably. It's happened in the past. We have
That would
definitely
be
done
so
episodes
exciting.
where I had too much glitter and like for a week later I was like, yep, still in my body. It's going.
I love that.
It does stick. Yeah. I chose the hot caramel gin because for those who don't know, I accidentally had a bottle of melon gin in my car for 2 years that I didn't know it was there. And it came to me with Tulsa. So I thought that was appropriate because it was the first time Salem and I got to share a hotel room and we were Mustang and Victra. And I got to meet Erin and Cassie. So I feel like that was the best of all of us. And
The gin
who
brought
knew?
us together.
The gin that we didn't know was in the car was there. So there you go. I have that. But yeah, that kind of brings us to why we're here is it's International Women's Day. So I thought we would gather all of us female podcasters that often touch on Red Rising or entirely touch on Red Rising to talk about it. Spoiler alert for everybody listening, we will be talking about everything through Lightbringer. So make sure if you haven't finished Lightbringer, go read it and then come back to us. We will not be holding back spoilers. And if you rolled your eyes at the idea of this being an International Women's Day episode, we welcome you to stick around and find out why it's so important that we are doing this and what female representation in sci-fi really looks like. So yeah, I'm going to jump right in with a huge question for everybody. And it's, who is your favorite female character in Red Rising?
Mustang.
wanna go?
God. I mean, is there any
Yeah.
other answer?
Oh,
Victra?
no.
Victra.
Victra.
Victra. Definitely Victra.
Victra.
Hands down.
I think I want to marry Mustang, but I would fuck Victra.
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I realize
I
this
would
isn't
also,
fuck, marry,
like,
kill.
A nice honorable mention for Lyria. She's like my favorite. I
Yes.
love her so much. So just
She
honorable
has
mention
grown
to
on
her.
me so much. And actually, wait, Erin, I can't believe you didn't say Volga.
Oh.
If I had a muffin, I would eat it. I've been reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, so I'm gonna have to like pull myself out of the dungeon and remember who the characters in Red Rising are.
Have you read this
Dungeon
series?
Crawler
Have
Carl?
you?
I want
Are
to
you
read
okay?
it.
It's so crazy. Speaking of Beer is the Mind Killer, my shirt, I just ordered some Dungeon Crawler merch from him. So
I love
Nice.
that.
stay off his Etsy if you want to not spend $80.
That's right.
I like it.
Oh my god. Most of my wardrobe is stuff from Beers of Mine. He's awesome.
Yes.
We're doing a
Yeah.
Name of the Wind reread as well.
Ooh,
Nice.
Love that.
can't wait for the
book.
next one.
So
I
we
mean, we're
got
gonna-
Mustang and Victra. I'm trying to keep us on. Yeah. We
Volga.
got
I'll go with
Mustang and
Volga.
Victra.
Thanks,
You're going
Cassie.
Volga. We had Illyria. I will say it's really funny. I was thinking hard about this, that I think almost everyone, it's like Victra and Mustang obviously are the biggest ones and everyone seems to fall in. I would say, and I think it's hard because Lyria and Mustang are the only ones with points of view, but I think Lyria is actually the best written of all of them. Like, she just is
agree.
so well rounded that Mustang's great, but I think we see so much depth in Lyria.
She, for
Character
me, too.
development.
Yep. I was going to say,
Yeah.
and she for me too is like in the Avengers where you have like all these characters who don't have superpowers, and she is like Falcon and, you know, all of these characters that don't have that, and you still love them, like Black Widow and those, and she just gives me that energy, and I feel like she doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's
Absolutely.
totally fair. I really like I did not like her in
I
Iron
know.
Gold the first time I read it. And like Tatiana and I've talked about this a lot. Like I
I
really
love
didn't
her.
like her. But I love her now. And I feel like that is kind of what you're saying, Skipper.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
Salem, like with the character growth, like I feel like she's
Yeah.
so well written that like you can't help but have her grow on you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Correct.
do you guys have a favorite scene with your favorite girlies?
It for me, if I'm gonna go with Mustang, it's gotta be the scene where she's eating the apple.
Oh,
Which one?
Hold her feet up
Mhm.
and then
Yep, on the desk.
Yeah.
Power move.
I'm gonna go smaller, and I love bacon and eggs, so I think that her at her most vulnerable and actually like shedding a tear and saying like, "Hey, how come you didn't see me? Like you should have seen me." That still gets me here.
Yeah.
I like the birth scene with Victra and Lyria, like in
Yeah.
Dark Age. That one's a real rip your heart out moment, and I feel like that is a good just like understanding of those two characters and the dynamic that they have, and like the structure of society and how it's still like inherently where we don't want it to be, right? Like all the things Darrow's fought for, and she's still like, no, I'm a gold, I'm gonna do this on my own, and, like I don't need your help, and then her being like, you will take my help, you know? That one is just like so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Love her.
I will piggyback on you because my favorite is actually like the similar with Victor being vulnerable is when like I think it's Morningstar when she's kind of having those breakdown moments and we see her right out of the box. Yeah, that I love that Victor is such a strong woman and is supposed to be the like standard of this is just the badass, this is what you do, but we get that layers with her of how like lending help or needing help and all of that. Yeah.
I would probably go like literally complete opposite side of the spectrum with Victor, and it's pity them.
Yes. Yeah.
I literally like I was looking at my text from my sister while she was reading it earlier, and like literally just like all caps, pity them.
I love that.
So good.
I also wish we got more of her, you know, Ajax.
Yes.
That would be nice.
I
Maybe,
love
yeah,
that
I
we
know.
only
Not
get
just
it.
behind the scenes.
I think that was like a
I
travesty.
love that we only get it from Lysander's POV over like a video screen. That he doesn't get this like epic death moment. He's just like a side character on like a screen.
Because he's rooting for.
Yeah.
I love it.
He's rooting for the other side. I want to see it from Victor's side or for someone from our side. You know what I mean? Our side. You know what I'm talking about.
like understanding her thought process as she's doing it. I think that would be pretty rad.
Yeah.
You know,
We
I
just
feel like
need
we
a
were
point of
robbed of
view.
that.
Yeah.
Or a whole
we need
book.
the Victor
A
POV.
Victor
Yeah.
POV.
Yeah.
Do you
Rewrite
think that
the
he
whole
doesn't do
series
that?
from her.
from a woman's
I
point
was
of view.
gonna say, do you think he doesn't do that because it's the same as doing like a Severo POV and it's just too unhinged?
Yeah.
Probably.
He told us that he had a whole Severo's POV.
Yeah, and
Like
you cut
from
it.
our pod.
Oh, I know.
He
I'm
scrapped
convinced that that's the 500 or 1,000 pages or whatever that he had to yeet before
They
Lightbringer
had,
came
he
out.
said that he had like him waging the rat war in the ducks and stuff, and he scrapped that in Lightbringer. Now everyone was like, "Oh, bring out the Severo POV," but I want the beheading POV. Hashtag violence.
Wow. Aaron, what about you? What was your favorite? Either of Victor or Volga.
I was trying to think. Volga, was kind of pissed me off in Lightbringer, which is my most recent. But when she finally turns around, after she heart rips everybody against our wishes, she finally is like, wait, I can't heart rip Lyra, even though the dead horses moment in Lightbringer kind of makes up her mind for her. Anyways, I'm speaking in circles, but when she finally kills Volsung Fa, I was very proud of her. So
Yeah.
That's a good one.
But I like when she's funny too, with Ephraim.
Yeah.
What does she say about Cassius?
That he's so
He's
handsome.
the most beautiful man.
Yeah.
Whatever she says is so fucking funny. I can't remember
That
exactly.
is
how
the
she says
most beautiful man I've ever seen.
I also want to do a notable mention from My Girl Mustang, because that Battle of Phobos gave me like the most anxiety. And I read the arc, so I was like, I can't talk to anybody about this. Like, my girl's okay. It kind of got resolved in a like off screen, but I love that she held her own. Like, she was also a great Razor Master too, and we never got that. We don't have her training. I mean, her husband is like up there, but I'm glad that she held her own. I don't feel like we see a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Like when you have such a power couple, like they're both individually powerful people.
Yeah.
So just
Fantastic.
my honorable mention for my girl.
For sure. What about, I want to just bring up some of the opposite, our baddies. What are our thoughts on, I'm going to say, of I think almost all the women, or all the villains, Lysander, but whatever, are actually women. And so I wanted to touch on that, of like how you feel about them. So looking at Octavia, Atlantia, Harmony, I have a whole thing about how Harmony is actually the biggest villain. She's the Umbridge of the series, if you will. But yeah, what are our thoughts on them?
I think Lilith is the ultimate pick-me, so
Yes,
that's
a
great
great
point.
point.
That girl needs some help for sure.
Damn.
She might not be a villain. She just might be unhealthy mentally.
Therapy.
Like, lock her up.
A little bit of both.
She needs a grippy sock vacation for like a while. She is not okay.
Yeah.
I really like, I just started rereading the original trilogy, doing the graphic audio now that they're like all out. And I have forgotten, like, I swear to God, every time I read this series, this is like my 5th read through. I'm like, oh my God, I absolutely forgot that happened. I really like Antonia's character, like just the transition from like her to Victra and like the untrustworthiness between them and her, like just their sister dynamic, I think is so great. And I just love her in Red Rising itself. In the first one, I think she's such a character that like you don't know if you want to root for her, but at the same time you're like, she's not that relevant. And then when she does come in, you're like, shit, And I think he does a really good job of kind of building those like really strong, sketchy female characters very early on.
I think that when like they show you who you are, you're supposed to believe them, but I still like have that little hope, and then they're like, oh damn it, I should have chosen my gut.
I was thinking about this earlier because, of course, like we're talking about all the ladies, and I was like, what would I want to talk about? And it was like, there are people out there who have like very valid gripes against Pierce's writing and whatnot. Some of the ones that claim misogyny and stuff are valid. Some are not. And I think that like one of the greatest arguments against Pierce being a misogynist is like Harmony. because I don't think you could write harmony if you didn't like have a deep understanding of women and respect for them.
Yeah.
Totally.
I think too, he doesn't just, all the characters aren't just a love interest of a male character, but
Yes.
especially in, I get all the books confused, but when we're having lady time and fighting Harmony with
Oh,
Yes, dark. Yeah.
Yes.
where are we going with that one?
Harmony's, sorry, I can't look at you. When Volga, Lyria, and Victor are tag teaming up against Harmony, you know, where there's no lead male character in sight, and I think they all have their own agency and friendship, and you know, you don't see that a lot in fantasy, unfortunately.
Well, and even all the background characters in that are mainly women who have been like sold as child brides, and all of them, how they react is all different. They're not all on the same team. Some of them are terrified, some of them are just right, like there is the ones who
Some of
go
them
full
beat the
in of
shit
like
out
I've
of the
got
other one.
right.
Give me your teeth.
Right, like and it's I agree with you of like even just how much detail he's put into having all of them have their own personalities on how people react in those situations is a huge moment. Yeah.
And like this is kind of a side note, but Cass and I had talked about this before, just in I think it's Lightbringer, where Mustang like has that whole conversation with Pax and how she's like, my heart is like being ripped out with him leaving and all these things. And it's like, that's crazy that that's like written by a guy, you know what I mean? Because he has so many big emotions for these women. And like, clearly he's never been like a mother, but it feels like from that, at that time, you're like, wow, this man is a woman. You know what I mean?
Dog.
Like, yeah.
Except to baby EO.
I would not be surprised if he had like a baby Bjorn.
What?
For
he does.
I would not be surprised if he had like a baby Bjorn.
I was gonna say he probably does. If not, we need to send him one.
He doesn't have. I will send you the video of him dancing. It's not with EO. It's with his friend's dog in a baby Bjorn. It exists.
But it needs to be with EO. I say like I don't give. I mean, like obviously we all know Pierce is like a good-looking guy, but like I don't give a shit about him. I want that dog.
So sweet.
Then she's the perfect dog. I want her.
Yes,
that's fair. But I mean, this is, you know, I guess he's a mother, but you know, same, not different.
But he's not actually. He didn't carry a baby in his womb, which like that's kind of the Mustang's POV. There is really all about like the motherhood experience.
Well, even the scene of Victor giving birth.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote that scene.
Very graphic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which he talked about how much he talked to his female friends before writing that. And that he like made sure that all of his friends who had given birth, he was like, talk me through it. What was your experience? And doing enough people that it wasn't just one perspective, but it's like, here's what your actual emotions or what somebody's emotion could be. Like, I think he does really well with doing that research, which is fantastic. Yeah,
I know. I think some people were upset by that scene. I read online, especially like people who've actually given birth, were like, that's fake, you know, fake news. But I appreciated that he attempted it, and I thought it was well written. As someone who has not given birth, I was like, shit, that sounds right to me. You know, I've heard about my friends giving, you know, home water births, and it was similar to that, like, you know, powering through by yourself. So no, I think that was an important scene that you don't see a lot of in books. So at least someone did it.
You certainly don't see it a lot in sci-fi.
No.
And not in sci-fi written by men, right? Like I think earlier you said something, Aaron, about like you don't see that a lot in fantasy, but I mean, I do think you see the female friendship thing and the female dynamic thing in fantasy, but you don't see it in sci-fi.
Sci-fi,
no.
Yeah.
I should point out I don't really read anything else. I don't have personal experience
Couldn't be me.
with books that are not fiction.
Valid. Fair. I would like to argue EO may or may not be the worst villain. Just throwing that out there. Discuss.
Oh,
opening that can of worms.
You just light a grenade.
Here's
I
some lore. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up just some Fade to Obsidian lore. Is that before we had our show, we had a channel in the Howler's Den, just prepping, and it got so heated on how much I dislike EO. We had to. You'll now see that channel only I can post in, because it became Fight Club of like I dislike EO and her villain. I think like her villainous ways, her manipulative ways. Is the wording I will use. Not putting it in anybody else's, but yeah, there's some Fade lore that we have never actually truly discussed EO because I was so jaded. Like everyone,
I think,
like,
honestly,
oh my god,
all of my friends that have read it that are women hate EO. So I think like he did a good job writing her character, but I feel like as women, like we all are like, no, that's not it. That's not the one.
I don't hate EO. I don't
hate EO. I don't hate EO, and what I think that
she's misinformed.
She's misinformed. She's a fucking child.
She lives
she's a child.
in a simulation.
And
she's in the Truman Show.
The way Darrow thinks about her, and like again, that's not to say like anyone who dislikes EO and thinks like that she was like a manipulative bitch or whatever. Like I think that's more or less like it's a valid opinion, right? I
she's
just
also
really
like 15, right?
I think that,
I
see the point. I see like the whole villain thing. Where when I had my friend from law school read it, and he had the same reaction. He was like, EO sucks. And I was like, what do you say that? I didn't really care because she was there for like the first few chapters, right? And obviously she started the revolution. But she was like, that's selfish for him to hide, or for her to hide that she had a child. And I just think that like not telling the father and then having the sister know the secret. And I think that's incredibly selfish. Like, obviously it's for the revolution, but then that's 2 lives, you know?
For the revolution.
Like, he's always wanted to be a dad. And I was like, okay, all right, I see that. I see the selfishness argument.
Yeah. I was a real bitch at 16. Like, I could ruin people's lives. So that's not, for me, that is not the argument. I am I am the same person that I was. I'll tell you right now.
Aaron and I are also, I think, like significantly older than everybody else here. So like
you're so far removed from 16, you're like, those bitches are crazy. I'm just saying.
Like they're toddlers.
I hate her. That's all.
I'm indifferent. Like I can see both sides where it's I don't think like I do think that she was manipulative and she withheld information from Darrow and all these other things. But same side as like Cassie and Aaron, she's a child. And then they were also as a society, they were just completely blocked out from actual truth, that it's really hard to not understand. Like it's really hard to not see her side and her decisions that she made and the reasons behind them.
Yeah.
And then aren't there like breadcrumbs that she was setting up? She was going to surprise Darrow. She's like, don't come in here. She like set up the room and everything. So she was going to tell him. She didn't know Nero was going to be there. And she's like, oh, I guess this is my time to shine.
So that is my thing, is I have nothing to do with, like, my point is nothing to do with the baby. Like, I almost forget that, like, that part. Yeah. My thing is that, like, they obviously get caught and everything happens. And then there's the 3 days that I know people are like, what happened? Tell us what happened in the 3 days. Because my thing is, I believe she, she became a martyr and she caused the revolution, but she didn't know she was going to do it. She just, at that moment, like, the selfishness to me has nothing to do with the baby. It has nothing to do, but it's the fact that she just, like, she does kill herself. She knows singing the song will kill herself and leave pain for everybody else, but she doesn't know that she's going to cause this whole thing, that Darrow's going to come up from the ashes and, like, cause this whole thing. I just look at it in that moment of, like, what was going through her head that she just went... I mean, and it's a situation of you're in oppression. It's better to just get out of it. But she's just like, you know what? At this point, why not?
I think she did know.
She knew that it was going to be televised, but she didn't know that, like, her song would actually get out.
I think she thought she was going to, like, inspire a revolt in the mind.
She didn't know they were terraformed.
Yeah.
Well, and I didn't know that it was terraformed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the other argument too, this is my own argument that I'm arguing with myself, but I think the other thing too is like we're seeing all of this from like Darrow's perspective and he's like so heartbroken, you know what I mean? And it's like 50% of that could just be that he's heartbroken, but I just feel like in the scene where they're in the garden and she's just like, you can do more. And I'm like, bitch, you can do more. Like, why is this all about him? I just feel like she puts so much on him.
Yeah.
I do wonder too, like, did the Sons of Ares, were they like grooming her to groom Darrow? Because Uncle Nero was definitely in on the Sons of Ares. He wasn't like planning on Eodyne, but
yeah, there's a theory that that's what flipped in that like 3 days she stayed in isolation, that somehow the Sons of Ares got to her, is like a fan theory that people had. And if that fan theory is true, I 100% back her more than just being like, hey, try and get up there. Do it for me. Like, I'm like, what? Yeah. Like, who do you think you are? Who do you think your husband is?
That's how I feel. Here? Like, who do you think you are? I'm right there with you. Get out of here.
I feel the way Darrow feels about her. He like, you know, he still like has love for her, or whatever. But he's like, but she was a child who was doing what she thought was right. And
but it took him like 3 books to realize that. I think that's what irritates me the most. Is that he like holds on. He's like, I can't die for her. I'm like, shut up. Okay, there's like a lot going on here, and she manipulated the shit out of you. Okay, so I don't know. Maybe take a nap.
See, that I don't blame her for though. I blame Darrow for that part.
That's fair.
Darrow being like, oh, I have to like, you know, now I'm gonna go ahead and blow up everything because my wife was actually pregnant, like when she died. That's on him.
That is on him. I agree with that one.
How he reacts and responds to Eo's decision is on him.
Yeah. I have my own thoughts on Darrow, but that's a whole nother episode.
That's a different episode. We can have a different.
We're not talking about men today.
No,
that's right.
They're not invited.
Hey, look,
I'm trying to think of the word. What's the word?
Right? Fridging.
Word?
Is that what were you wondering about?
What's it?
The word where women only talk about women and like the Lord of the Rings, the only scene 2 women talk to each other about another woman.
Oh, it's not the Bechdel test, but then like it's the reverse Bechdel. The Bechdel test is when women do not talk about anything but men, which I would love to bring up because I don't think
reverse Bechdel.
Yeah, I don't think Red Rising passes the Bechdel test until Dark Age, and someone can correct me on that. But today, we're doing the reverse Bechdel test, where we're not talking about men.
Yeah, until there's like Harmony Victra, the ladies get together.
I think it's the Volga Lyria in jail is the passing of the Bechdel test.
Okay.
When they're passing their notes because they're stuck in jail.
Next reread, I'll try to remember.
I thought you were looking for fridging, like which is what a lot of the complaints that you read about Red Rising from like a misogyny perspective are that people are saying that EO is like an example of fridging women, right? Where you like put a woman in like the character. What are you saying?
Fridging?
Fridging, like refrigerator.
Okay.
And it's like they are kept on ice until they are needed to further the male character's plot.
Yeah.
They're kept in the fridge, which is kind of disgusting. But I think that there is some validity to that with EO specifically. I don't necessarily agree with it completely though, because like if you're going to argue that EO was a victim of fridging, then you have to argue that literally every like prim in the Hunger Games or any parent in a fantasy book.
Yeah,
they're on the fridge.
Yep.
If that's the thing, then that's it's all the same. But I think it's very close.
Darrow kind of like keep her around like the whole time though. I don't feel like she was like ever really gone. I mean, he had her freaking her hair and his necklace which kind of disappeared. So I mean,
it was his wedding ring.
Really gone. Like even when he was like dying in the mud, he was like yelling her name or moaning her name or whatever too. So, and I still think like even like the last like words of Lightbringer are like for Ragnar, for blah blah blah, for EO. So even like 6 books, like she's still around. So I guess we can like think about it too as like the very powerful impact of this one woman spanning all these 6 books, right? Because I mean, he wouldn't be who he was,
hate it.
obviously, without her as the spark.
Yep.
Mhm.
Sorry, I brought it up.
No.
I take it all back.
No. I've
She's
been
the whole
waiting
reason
2
the
years to
books are
talk
here.
about it.
Sorry, hashtag lawyered.
She's like, I'm ready for this argument.
We've been waiting.
And I mean,
love it.
when it comes down to it, Red Rising is a male protagonist. So
Mhm.
the fact
Yeah.
that Pierce brings in women POVs and strong female characters, kind of even fighting against the own male protagonist, as being at the forefront.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think the series could have easily gone 7 books without, female POVs or other POVs. Just stick on Darrow, but I'm glad he brought in some strong ladies.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
agree
his
with
love
that.
Racks of thighs.
is a woman. Like, it's still Atalantia being, or, you know,
Yeah.
being a weird auntie.
I bet she's crazy.
She's real crazy.
I'm gonna
Okay,
be
so I
honest, every single time that I find the most gaudy cowboy boots in the store, I send a picture to Skipper and Crescent. And I say, ooh, who would wear these?
Does
Cannot
Atalantia
imagine.
wear cowboy boots?
Yeah,
She
I'm
gets
like,
That's what my brain.
Glarastes turned it. Well,
Do they have cowboy boots?
Your head cannon, yeah.
my head.
Yeah.
But they
what
talk
does
about how she
Glarastes
has
get
like
turned
these like
into? Yeah.
It's like glittery, right?
they're
Yeah.
like diamond crested like snake
Oh.
skin
Snake
boots.
skin.
Don't
And
they
so,
have like
like-
gold on them or something?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
something like that.
It's gotta be.
I guess
just
that's the German
imagine.
sigils. That makes sense.
I just
I was like
imagine.
lost at first. I was like, what? Like,
Canon.
did I miss
It's
what
canon
they
from now
did?
on.
Which
Yeah.
is like not surprising if I did.
I like it. Yeah, I actually love Atalantia and just like the badass and insane. Just like, but like can hold her own against absolutely everybody, which I love.
And-
like,
We
Yeah.
should talk about her sis too, because
I
I
was
mean,
gonna
Aja
Oh,
was
yes.
so formidable.
Mhm.
You
Yes.
know, she had her own saying. Like it's not just the men that are the best swordsmen. Aja's
yeah,
the best
Yeah.
of the best has to be beaten by 3 amazing people.
yep, absolutely.
Aja's cool.
Okay, I have a
Four?
question.
4? Well, if you
4.
count
I'll
Sabro.
thank there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stavro killed her.
That's true.
I
I
killed
was
Stavro.
thinking of the fight before he woke up.
Oh,
He's really going for it. So for
Sorry,
you
I'm
guys,
thinking
what was your
too
like
many
most crushing female death then in this series?
Most
If any comes to
satisfying was Harmony, obviously.
yeah.
Or satisfying? Either or.
Harmony
Yeah.
could still be
That's the
alive. She's
opposite
got
of
snakes
crushing.
in her belly.
No body, no crime.
Okay,
She's Snake Lady.
I feel a very impactful one though was like I still think about Quinn.
Yeah,
Because she set off a
I was waiting
lot.
for it.
Speaking-
Sorry.
Speaking T's
Right?
language.
I'm like, what would happen if she stayed? Would Rogue have gone rogue? Would all this happen? And I kind of wanted to hear more about her. All I know is she runs fast.
I feel like
that's right.
she would like I think about her character a lot because I agree with you. Like, I wonder what would have happened with Rogue and Severo
Yeah.
and just like that friendship too. Cause I feel like that could have been what broke them up in a different way is like
Right.
the fight over Quinn between Rogue and Severo. Like, I think that could have also been like the straw that broke the camel's back for him. But I don't know. I feel like the first time I read the series, like I loved her so much and I was like devastated when she died. And then now I feel like everyone forgets about her. So just wanted to bring that
No,
up.
I got you. I got your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love her, you know?
I'm
I just feel like
scrolling.
she's so pivotal.
I'm scrolling
Yeah.
through our text messages from earlier this week,
Yes.
which just include literally
Fresh.
text, one-word texts that are just Quinn, like repeatedly throughout the week. Multiple texts that are just Quinn.
Like,
I'm gonna
don't
vomit.
I was so sad.
Yeah.
Can I say Eos was the most?
Yes,
Yeah, you're allowed.
You can
That's
say
definitely, that
EO.
is a really rough death.
Fiona's gonna come for you.
I'm coming for you. You're allowed to be sad about it, but she sucks. That's okay. The death itself is sad.
Dude, I still cry when I read it. I'm like, fuck, Pierce is good at making me cry.
Yeah.
And then Lyria's sister and
yes.
That's what I was
kids
Yeah.
with the
So that whole
shoes. Like,
family.
I even like
Oh.
didn't like Lyria at the time and still was really sad.
Yeah.
I know it's only like not confirmed, but Rona, it's like we don't know if she's dead or not, and that
She's alive.
still crushes me.
Nobody-
That
I
it's
don't
like
think she is.
Nobody
think
knows
she's come
crime for
back?
sure on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody.
yeah.
Everything's
She's alive.
fine.
Everything's fine. She
totally
somehow
fine.
got
What
out.
about-
It's fine.
What
Am I
about-
like misremembering?
Yeah, because
No, she
they-
just, we haven't heard. There's nothing, there's no word. Nobody
She
knows
was
crime.
lost
they,
in the
they all
flooding.
escaped. Yeah, and she didn't escape with like.
And we don't know where she ended up. What?
Interesting.
Speaking of the flooding, what about Orion's death?
Oh,
Yes.
That
That
was
one, like,
I
nuts
was
me.
Mhm.
absolutely gutted for sure. Orion was
That-
so great.
She's such a good
Okay,
character.
I'm not sad about this, but I think about it. Roke Pink. I kind of like want to hear
Yes.
more about like why
Oh.
she betrayed him and all. I don't know. I still think about that. So
Did
I'm
she
not
die?
like sad about it, but I'm like,
So that's an interesting thing
fall in
because
love with her?
during Hazard Bedlam, I was the pink proctor, and we talked a little bit about like what does that mean to be a pink. And I talked to Theodora a bunch of like, especially as the proctor, it's like I see myself as Theodora, like looking over all of you, and the amount of people who were like, "What about Roke's pink? Like, where is she? What's
is she?
happened? What's that backstory?" And so that she is like. Especially people who identify as pink definitely talk about and think of her. So yeah, for sure.
Theodora's
Theodora is the
death,
one.
I didn't feel it because they're just it was
It just
so
happened.
obnoxious.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
the way they
Yeah.
were squishing everyone, I was just like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is happening?
Yeah.
So when Theodora died, it was just another one in the big long line of Pierce
Yeah.
killing everyone.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. To be fair, it was immediately following the Day of Red Deaths, but I was so I was already like wrung the fuck out. But I do remember just
Okay.
being really, really sad about I was like I like moaned like not Theodora.
He deserves the
Yeah.
world, you know?
Yeah.
Everything's
Theodora was the
fine.
one that gave the clip to Darrow, right? Before he went to the escape pod, the little like clip. Am I her
Yes,
clip?
the hair flower. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember I was like, I kind of want
Yeah.
one. It's like that little snippet.
Did Evie die?
We don't know what happened
where
to Evie.
We don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I have all the Eevee Pokemon behind me. We don't know where
Yeah.
she is.
Gotta catch 'em
Gotta
all.
catch them all.
Pierce did see this and confirm that she is not named after the Pokemon, but I refuse
Yeah.
to admit
I'm not
that. I think
kidding.
she has been carved into something else.
You said the Eevee Pokemon, and I'm sorry, I was at at an age where like it just didn't. I wasn't a Pokemon person, but like
Me either.
I think
We're
we
old,
were
Cassie.
like just slightly too old for it. Like I remember my younger cousin being really into it. But anyways, you said Eevee Pokemon, and I was like, wait, there's an Eevee this character Pokemon,
I thought it was a
and
joke.
so
I
I'm
don't know,
starting to like
Pokemon's
look.
having a
No.
resurgence right now too.
There is an Eevee. Eevee the Pokemon can evolve into
All the elements, like every
six
element.
different element, so they can become anything. So that's my ongoing theory was that she's named for that and will pop up as a different color, almost like
Something
Figment
else.
could change because she could be carved into anything. We don't know where he is. And Pierce's response was, "I don't really follow Pokemon," and I was like, "Just kidding." Then there's my fan theory.
Yeah, there's an idea for you.
Yep.
And forget
pretty
the
sure he's-
combo.
Pretty sure he's our age. So that makes sense.
Yes.
He's like, I don't even
Which
know
is
what that
not. You guys know that I'm almost there.
means. We're on the cusp.
You wish. Just kidding.
You're
I thought of another death.
Thank you.
Yes.
I kind of blacked out during the Pokemon combo. Octavia, that
Yeah.
was super like. I mean, that one kind of made me sad because she's old, and it was a
Mm.
stomach stab, which is so horrible.
is
I
bleak.
felt bad.
Yeah. I'd like
But it was also
an Octavia
satisfying.
prequel.
Steffi, everyone. I forgot her. that sucked. Right?
Yeah.
No? Just me? That was
Yeah.
sad.
You forgot. Sorry, I didn't hear. There,
Yeah.
you forgot Octavia.
Yeah.
Who?
Mhm.
I lost it. Everybody cut in at the same time. I was like, what is happening?
I'm gonna stop talking.
Also with
We're just talking Octavia and her death.
Okay.
But I think her, like, I think it stands. She's pretty badass at the beginning. And, like, the fact that everyone
Yeah.
just, like listens to every word she says. It's great.
And she's a horrible person, obviously, but she was a successful dictator and child abuser.
That's right. She deserved
Killed
a
her
little more
dad. Power.
of a Viking death there.
Right.
A little
Not
more
a
umph.
gut stab. Blech.
I know.
rough.
I'd rather be rock squished than gut stabbed. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That was really, really like slowly violent.
The gut stab.
Being crushed by a rock.
I
like,
think the
it's
crushed
I
by the
pictured
rock
it being like a.
slowly.
No, I pictured them dropping it like
No,
a
they
Yeah,
boulder.
I mean, I think
They, like slowly lower it down, like smash them.
like
Really? I pictured a splat. Let me have it.
Let me have it.
when Aaron's
Don't ruin
talking
this
about
for
that,
her.
Cersei Lannister and Jaime Lannister, and I don't think that was slow.
Cassie's
I
thinking
think that
trash
was
compactor. Slow burn.
I am. I'm definitely thinking more like Star Wars slow walls.
Yeah.
I thought it was a
Hey,
drop.
they got out of that.
I thought it was a drop as well. I love how we're like choosing. Like, would you
Your own
rather
mind.
have
You do what you want.
a fast thump, or a slow?
Are we still
That'll be the
talking female
next
deaths, or
episode.
should we talk female empowerment?
I feel like
'Cause what
let's
about?
talk female empowerment.
I
I
just
want
want to
to
go down that really
talk.
dark road for a minute.
I was just
Yeah.
gonna say blood eagled. That's the worst. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah,
See, that's what I was saying about.
Oh, I
Steffi got
forgot
blood
about
eagle,
that one
right?
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seppi.
Oh,
Pierce
yeah.
is good about killing people in different ways.
Really inventive.
Want to know what
Next
his search
episode.
history is at this point? Like, Jesus Christ.
I know. For all the people listening, this is just for research purposes.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk back female empowerment. We can definitely talk all the queens that we get to Mustang. Sephi. I also just want to talk about the ultimate girls' girl Holiday, who just is there.
Fuck.
Just
Go back.
Just
That's my
chilling.
favorite.
Yeah.
Holiday's the best.
Holiday is the best.
Girl.
I can't believe
forgot
it's
about
taken us
Holiday.
an hour to talk about Holiday.
Yeah.
How dare we?
We
Shame
failed
on
the
us.
Greys. Sorry, Greys.
Our bad. What are we talking about her about?
I love Holiday.
Smiling. They're like, well, she's so
Like,
great.
why though?
I mean, I think her character, she's such a strong character in the fact too that like I think this is the first time we really see Grays in such a positive light. You know what I mean? Like when we get all of this and like her brother dying and she's like, I just gotta lock it up. Like there's more important things in life, and just sort of like systematically like how they're, constructed, and her understanding like the bigger value in Darrow and like all the other people that he's like trying to rescue. And I think this is the first time we actually see him go, oh, wait a minute, I kind of like that. You know what I mean? Where they've been so negative, like in the original, kind of in the original trilogy. So
Yeah.
I think she's a really good character.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely.
She's great. She's badass.
Big
I'm trying
fan.
to think. I did have a list somewhere, and then I just went, everyone will figure it out.
Of the female characters.
Of female
about our-
characters.
What about our Moonies? We get
Oh.
Dido.
Mm-hmm.
Is Calendora a Moonie?
No,
Mhm.
Calendora is not. She's the love
Uh,
knight.
Seraphina.
Seraphina. That's
Seraphina.
what I was thinking of. Thanks.
Could just,
Mhm.
yeah.
Seraphina.
Hello and goodbye, Seraphina.
Rest in peace.
What a
Sis.
wild character.
She was cool as a child. She got a little nasty.
And then instantly gone.
That was a rough
so
death.
fucking satisfying.
Yeah.
That was so satisfying.
We can't.
I wish
Yeah.
it was
We
like,
can't
Yeah,
get
right.
away from
Yeah.
death here.
Wrong, right? You guys remember? I think it was PV Doodles who had like a drawing of her, and it was like April Fools, and then you switch. It was like on Instagram, and then you switch over, and then it was
Just legs.
untimely demise. But I was
Legs
I
and
was
her
cracking up.
intestines falling out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
she's like,
I missed
there
that.
she is.
It's hard to not
Awesome.
get dark when this whole series is dark. So
It's so, yeah.
Okay.
Let's go back to
What, Dark
Queens.
Age era?
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Back to Queens.
Aaron, what queens do you want to talk about? There's so many.
Aaliyah, Snow Sparrow.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Queen.
Good one.
I'm trying to think of actual queens.
Steffi was also.
Sephi. We haven't really
Yeah.
talked about Sephi
now-
and like
And now Volga.
Yeah.
and now Volga.
Okay.
Yep.
Mustang, Avi.
Yeah.
And that there we have like a women in charge society. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Monarchy.
Matriarchal?
Matriarchy.
Matriarchy?
Words are hard.
We're brand new. It's fine.
It's fine.
I will actually say that is not so. Like, yes, technically, like the Obsidians are a matriarchy, but a matriarchy is not just the opposite of a patriarchy.
What is it?
It's not just. It's a completely different way of forming society.
A better way?
One could argue. One could argue.
I think that the good thing about, or like, I don't know, an interesting thing about this series is that we go from this like dictatorship with Octavia and we push into Mustang. And I think a lot of people get really surprised by that. If you don't really, if you're not like reading this super comprehensively, you think, oh, Darrow's going to be like the next sovereign. And the fact that he puts Mustang in there and she's such a strong character, I think is such a fun way to go about it. And I think he really, that's the one of many, many, many things I love about Pierce. But I like that he does like to really turn, I like that he does really like to turn that kind of stuff on his head. It's not like the typical, what you think it's going to be and how it's supposed to turn out. And he does these things where he makes these great female characters and then puts them in power. And then it's not just like, she's not a puppet to society and she's not a puppet to Darrow. Like Mustang makes her own decisions and she's like really clever. And I think we get a lot of that in Lightbringer, especially when she meets with Lysander and like has those conversations. And I really think we needed her point of view, but I like that we didn't get a ton of it, that you feel like it's oversaturated and you're sort of still seeing like how clever she is in those like off moments.
Oh, no, I love that.
Absolutely.
Totally held it down.
Yeah.
Held it down.
Mic drop.
Lightbringer was like her.
That's it.
She like ain't need no man. I loved it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also,
think-
we like very slightly touched on it, but I'm pretty sure almost every single like leader, like political leader in this is female.
Yeah. Nero would be the only.
Yeah, and even then he was governor.
Yeah.
Governor.
Yeah, for sovereign wise, yeah.
Because we've got, and it's been matriarchal for all of the Obsidian. It was Octavia and then it was Mustang. And then I honestly would say Dido was probably the one running the show over there.
Yeah. I think that's fair. And she definitely was by the time Lightbringer started.
Yeah.
You know who we have completely forgotten to talk about, like, full female
Julia
societies?
Bellana.
Oh, I was going to say the Daughters of Ares.
What her name?
In
Oh,
Lightbringer, we get
That's
into, like, they're holding down the fort. They are, saving the people. They're
Stealing ships.
just this... Yeah. And Ori, we completely forgot, Ori is...
Yeah.
She's an interesting character that she's kind of there. Everyone loves her, but like we don't really see that much of her because Darrow can't be bothered to interact. It feels like that he's like everyone else loves her. I don't get it.
There's like she's got enough acolytes over here.
Yeah,
it'll be all right.
As Darrow's just like, I just want to hang out with my friends, guys.
yeah.
The Daughters of Ares stressed me out. They were like the most unpredictable. Like I literally went into that like Lyria's gonna die. Here we go. Like this is it. I feel like I blacked them out because they stress me out a lot. I feel like you never know what they're gonna do. You know what I mean? I don't know. They're unhinged. Love them, but
yeah,
stressful. I don't know what they're up to. Yeah.
I did want them to just stop trying to hold justice on Darrow and just like let's just win this war and let Darrow go. Thanks.
I love that whole segment.
I'm so stressed.
I
think that was the first time.
I was very stressed, obviously, but I feel like I felt like that was finally like the first reasonable instance of people holding Darrow accountable for his actions. Like it was far more reasonable than like, for example, the Day of Red Doves, like the way that mob formed and like everything that happened there, like the way like their court was completely silent, like people were like glaring at him and they were clearly very angry, but like it was orderly and everything. I just kind of loved that.
Oh, you can be angry and not delve into chaos.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like they're so separate from like the society, like the regular society that we saw, that I was like, you don't have any idea what their structure looks like, what they've been up to. I mean, I'm glad that we got them in this one. I hope he expands on them a ton more, but I was very worried. I was like, someone gonna die for sure. For sure. They didn't, but that's okay.
All right, after brief break, we are now joined by Lindsay of Books and Baddies. Welcome in, Lindsay.
Hello. Thank you. It's happy to be here.
Yeah. What are you drinking tonight?
I am just drinking some white girl white wine.
Love it.
Can't go wrong with the
We like
classic.
it.
Yeah. Thank you.
We like it.
Some Chardonnay.
Yeah.
No, I think it's Pinot Grigio. Maybe.
Classic.
Yeah. We'll go
Whatever.
with that.
We'll take it.
Whatever bottle is there.
It's probably that or
100
Savvy B.
exactly. Oh no, it's Savvy B. It's Savvy B.
Probably be.
Nice.
Thank you.
And
forgot all my wines.
the ultimate white girl white wine.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah. I like
I'm
it.
ready. I've got a brand.
We have been talking about all the women of Red Rising in every aspect, including a lot about how they died. That's been an ongoing great topic. We're gonna throw you right into this because Janelle, what was the question you just asked before I cut you
What was
off?
the question I just asked?
What scene would you like to
what
see expanded?
scene
Yeah.
Would you like to see? Like, what is your fantasy wish scene that you'd like to see? And I want to see a Smash Sisters, Victra, and Mustang going at it for their mans. I want to see a Smash Sisters.
Like if I could write a scene, or
What do you want to see?
in the
Like
next
in
book.
Red God.
Okay. Wow, good question.
That's I agree that I would also like the fight scene between Victra and like with Victra and Mustang, not between them, because we almost got it with Victra. I know, right? Turn the clock. One of them backstabs the other. We almost got it in Lightbringer with Victra and Thraxa got the but again, we already discussed that it was kind of from the other way. So I would agree with you on that one, that I would love to see the two of them kind of take arms together. That would be great.
I like that. I'm gonna say, and this is because I just finished Lightbringer like super recently. I'd put it off for a really long time, which is a long story. But I was not super satisfied with the resolution, if you can even call it that, between Lyria and Volga, and I want to like see them have like a deep heart to heart, almost like not scream match, but like, you know, where they get a little bit deeper into it, and really right those wrongs, because I think they have a lot of characters in the series have a very compelling friendship, and it felt, at least to me, a little bit blown over, which in the context of everything else that was going on in the universe at the time made sense. They're like, we gotta fucking figure this out. Let's go. We're friends. Move along.
Yeah.
But I really hope that they have a bit more of a reckoning. I would really like to see that heart to heart in the way that we got to see a lot of the boys have heart to hearts in Lightbringer, which I really loved.
Yeah.
For sure.
Although when you get a heart to heart, it's typically followed by a big death. So
Yes.
Don't say that, Erin.
That's so
You don't
true.
want her
Everything's fine.
Careful what you
not
wish
wrong.
for. Yeah.
Like literally, even Ajax follows that trend.
Yep.
Oh my God,
You know
you're
when
right.
someone's gonna die. You know it.
Yeah.
Can't
Shit.
give anyone
I didn't. I
attention.
will say, as soon as I saw the header, like the title for the section of the book where Cassius died, I was like, God damn it, he's gonna die.
You clocked it right away.
Mhm.
As soon as I saw it was Brothers
Oh
was
my
the name of the part 4 Brothers, I was like, fuck.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
like Hanger 17B. I was like,
No, like the
What does
whole
that
part,
mean?
Like literally,
Hanger
part
smart.
4.
I don't
Mhm.
know how that would take away.
Yeah.
I think for me, I want to see Volga actually rise to her power that she now has, and see if she can get the Valkyrie to join her and help follow her and like go farther and actually help Darrow and the gang.
I'd like
Yeah,
to see
I
a
think-
lot of people die.
Yeah.
Atalantia.
Atalantia.
I'd love to see Lilith go. I'd love to see Atalantia go. I'd love to see Lysander killed by, like, I don't know, Victra. That'd be great. Those are the goals.
Mhm.
I have like a laundry list.
Lilith dying for sure. In the Wolf, obviously.
Mm.
Ooh, I'd like to see like Holiday kill Lilith.
Oh, we're on the death again.
Holiday is dead.
I know. I'm sorry.
I think Abominadrius is gonna do it, but I would love it to be a holiday.
Ooh, yeah.
Because, like,
Okay.
stop killing all my friends.
Yeah.
I like it.
I need it's a deep I need Severo and Victra to be back together.
Yeah.
I need that for
Desperately, and I am
Pharaoh and Mustang, but yeah.
so scared that
Yeah,
it's not gonna happen.
there were like 3 jump scares in Lightbringer where I was like, he's gonna die before he sees his family, because he kept being like, all right, gonna go see the kids. You're gonna die on the way. And then he didn't. Thank God, knock on wood. But I love his girl dad energy. Like, I love that he's this like unhinged, I don't know, chaotic good, chaotic neutral, whatever you want to be. But then he's just like this girl dad energy showing up to the Iron Rain with like butterfly stickers on his face and a little braid with like a scrunchie in it. Like, I love that. I think that's a really clever move of Pierce Brown's to kind of give him that, those two sides.
That's a character we haven't talked about yet, is Elektra. And like the most badass of 10-year-olds. Like, she's just
seriously
incredible.
I think her in comparison to Pax too, and just like seeing the difference in the way they were raised, being raised right next to each other, basically, and like how much she's just like, you are a sissy, like to his face. I think it's so great. Like, she's the best energy.
Yeah.
Wait, when her interaction with Ephraim.
Yeah, and she's like
rescuing her,
my
and she's like a body. What does she say? Like a flesh wound or a kill shot? And he's like, "What, you psycho!" Hands down, one of the funniest fucking moments in the whole series, and that I feel like is just so her. She's just like cool as a cucumber. Do you want me to kill these guys?
Bingo.
He's like, just stay behind me, psycho.
She's like, no, I got this.
Absolutely not.
Psycho. Yeah, I love it.
She's a really cool character.
Yeah. Being cognizant of Cassie's cutoff, let's just talk in general. And again, sorry, Lindsay, you kind of missed the big conversations, but how are we feeling overall with Pierce, the representation? We touched on this already a little bit, where he started from, where he is now, your highs and lows and all of that, everything in between. How are we feeling?
I feel pretty strongly about this, and I was thinking about this when we were talking about our favorite books, and I think I love Red Rising. I love the first book, and I do think that it's the most problematic, weirdly, even with Dark Age's existence, because of how things are just like literally not handled or not discussed ever again. Like Tactus literally attempting to rape someone. Like, yeah, he whips him and then gets whipped in return, but like then they literally never talk about it again, and there's no like, hey, here's why that's not okay, right? And then even before that, him like expressing sympathy, like really deep sympathy and like sadness about having to kill Titus, when Titus had just raped several people.
Yeah.
And that's never discussed. So like, if you take that, and I hadn't really thought about it myself a ton until a friend of mine was reading the book, and she was like, I don't know how comfy I am with this now. I don't know that I want to keep reading it. Like, that's how strong of a reaction she had to that, the handling of that situation, both those situations. And if you take that and then fast forward to how he handles like physical and sexual abuse in the later books, I feel like the growth of writing, yes, but the growth of that is really impressive.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I feel good about it.
Do we all just agree with Cassie?
Yeah.
Heard.
Nothing to add.
Well, and I even like
I
just
agree.
the growth. If you're going to look at the growth in general, like you see, of course, in especially like Morningstar, and then in the second half of the series after the original trilogy, you really see a lot more female representation from characters. Plus, you get POVs from female characters. So I think that overall, the books also spanned over 10 years. And so you've got a lot of personal growth as an author. You've got a lot of growth as a society in general of things that have happened over those last 10 years. And how that has obviously influenced and impacted the way this story has grown. I feel good about it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to like put the the bar on the floor for men. But and as Cassie said, right, like you have this first book where everything Cassie said I'm 100% aligned with. And then you have later Pierce Brown writing like Victra fighting in maternity armor against the syndicate, if I remember right. And like that's so fucking cool. And like how does, the fact that like that author can coexist with the author who kind of just brushed things to the side in Red Rising. And to me it really feels like he I don't know if he took the fandom's insights or if he had a reckoning or if there's some strong woman in his life who was like, buddy, what are we doing? But something got to him and he's doing a lot better. I appreciate that. Yeah. Hasn't there been a couple times where he's acknowledged that in his earlier books he didn't do a great job and like made a conscious effort to make changes? Am I remembering right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think he's talked about that. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah. Again, bar on the floor for men, but like, wow, accountability. Good job.
It's in hell. It's in hell.
I think the
Also,
I think the
like,
later
we have to
book-
remember
sorry.
too that like Pierce was 22 when he wrote Red Rising. Like
I didn't know that.
Grew up with Darrow. They like match an age for each book. So
just
little
a baby.
grace for. I mean, I know 34-year-old males that are still in their 22 mind. So
yeah,
just saying.
Yeah.
I think he does
Aaron,
a really good
what were
job
you
too.
gonna
Like,
say?
oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Aaron, you were gonna say.
Go for it.
I was gonna say I think he's definitely getting better at giving women more agency and empowerment, and it's not in a way that's pandering like in like certain Marvel movies or like this is now women time. I think the more integrated the characters are together, with women holding agency, Thraxa leading a charge, showing off her thick thighs. Not just like being, like the women are mixed in with the men. It's not just here's your chapter, ladies. Now back to the real story. I think you're seeing that throughout all of his books, but especially in the second trilogy.
Yeah.
Holding space.
Holding space.
That was what I was going to say. But you put it much more elegantly. So
there you go.
Did I? I don't know.
You did a great job.
I appreciate that. Like, there's a bit of like equal opportunity objectification happening, right? Like, it's not just like, oh, the girls are sexy. It's like everyone's sexy. Everyone's a little bit horny. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, Cassius is especially fucking sexy. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that of like I look back kind of how Victra originally was supposed to be a man, and so then I put it in the perspective of in Golden Sun, which is where he was kind of writing in that frame and then flipped it. Doesn't count for the rest of it, but what does that still work if she was a man? And yeah, as you say, like everyone being sexy, like how horny she is all the time and just trying to get with Darrow, like it works even if she was a man, right? Like everything she does in Golden Sun works, like no matter her gender. And I think that speaks volumes of not necessarily, looking at it in, well, she's a woman, so she can't do this or she has to do this, but like, could she, at least in Golden Sun, I'm not saying a man can give birth in, such a way, but
it's the future.
It's the future. We don't know. I don't know what Carvers can do, but yeah, I always look at that. Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to his growth, I agree with everything you've said of, there is definitely hard parts in that first book, in the first trilogy, even. There, a lot of people, I don't think any of us currently on the podcast are mothers, but I know there's a few people with, the use of 2 surprise pregnancies in that first trilogy of what that looks like and what does that change. But I think even then, like, as someone who is not a mother, like he then goes on to write very strong women who are mothers, right? Like it does get into all of that, but also not everyone is a mom. We still get badass, Holiday and everybody else who it doesn't,
childless
Thraxa
cat
especially. Ladies. Yeah. I don't know if I would trust Thraxa with a cat. I would trust Holiday with a cat I don't know if
What about
Yeah.
Sophocles?
Oh
He's doing
my
fine.
God. Yeah.
Sophocles is
I don't think
Practically.
Thraxa ever thinks about Sophocles. She's like, he's over there. Holiday, on the other side, is lying on the ground, putting jelly beans on her stomach, trying to
That
attack
was
him.
an emergency situation.
Just saying. But yeah.
I think also, while we talk about women, we should also talk about how Pierce is pretty good at DEI in general, even though it's canceled now. And you know,
Shut it down.
we get a lot, even with like the colors, you know, Wrinkle, whatever. We also get different races, different ethnic backgrounds, people who in the real world are represented in the books. I think we could get more of that, especially in main characters. I think we could definitely have more queer people and not just the two who shipped off to God knows where.
Yeah.
Which,
but
like,
I think-
honestly, I love, and that is very like rich gay of them to be like,
Yeah.
I don't want any
We're
of this
out.
anymore.
Absolutely.
I'm going in my fancy
Yeah.
spaceship.
We're moving to
I'm
Palm
going that way.
Springs.
like, bye.
Was anyone else
Respect it.
was anyone else picturing the gay couple from Modern Family?
Yes!
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 No.
They
No,
are
I
Cam and Mitch.
A robe, just like walking about.
So is Quicksilver Cam then? Because I can maybe see.
Yes. I
Yeah.
think Quicksilver is Cam.
It's
Okay.
canon now.
Because he'd want to be the father of all the robot children, but
Yeah.
That's right.
And Mateo's
Anyways.
just holding it together. Yeah. Mateo is Mitch holding it together.
My babies.
I love that.
But hopefully, what I would like to see is more main character diversity. You know, it's been mostly like villains and people who aren't, you know, appearing as white, at least in fan art and you know, how we read it. But
That is one thing that I think is interesting is like the official art of Lyria that came out with Dark
Yeah.
Age's release, I think. She's not black, but she's definitely described as black in
right,
Yep.
right.
the books. And then like most of the fan art I see of her, and to be fair, let's be honest, I only look at PB Doodles and Miles, but like
I was gonna say, yeah.
she's black.
The only
in
fan
there.
art.
So like
I'm just kidding.
right. The only fan art I look at, which is from two people who I trust to draw people correctly. But that I found really interesting and kind of weird, and I kind of want to be like, yo, why, Pierce? Did you approve that? Because
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
she doesn't
official
look
one.
white. Like she doesn't,
Good.
you know, the drawing isn't necessarily like just like
But also
Palm
she's
but-
she's red and her hair was not red in that
Yeah.
picture.
Her hair isn't red?
It's like
art?
it's like a muddy red
I
brown.
feel like I have not
Oh.
seen this picture.
I have not seen this
I
either.
know, I'm
It's
like,
on the
oh,
wiki,
oh,
right?
Also,
I think so.
but he said before that like the hair
Oh,
color
yeah, it's
isn't
mousy.
necessarily
Right. It's mostly the
tied
eye
to the-
color.
Yeah.
You gotta have red
Yeah.
hair though, if you're a red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
At least
and
that's what I always pictured in my head.
Put us in
I
a box
definitely
here.
picture her
Aaron.
at least with like very, very auburn. Right? Like a
Yeah.
light auburn.
Mhm.
Sweet.
PB's is canon in my head.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We'll work off BBs. Well, on that kind of representation note, I just wanted to shout out to the bigger sci-fi and looking at women in sci-fi. I love to bring back anytime we have like women representation, like author representation. Mary Shelley invented this genre, and then I looked it up, and only according to Tor Publishing, this was a 2013 survey or study they did. 22% of authors are women in sci-fi, even though Mary Shelley got bored at a party and decided to invent an entire genre, which also invented the dystopian. Yeah, also invented the first dystopian apocalyptic novel ever. So shout out to Mary Shelley. But I wanted to ask who you guys' favorite female sci-fi authors are, and they don't have to be, you know, if you read Red Rising, you'll love this book. We can just talk any sci-fi or, you know, slightly fantasy adjacent. What are you all? Salem, I'm going to throw to you because you actually did research for this.
I did.
You're the only one who did research for this
I'll be
episode.
honest.
Yes.
I didn't do any research on Red Rising, so that was all just, you know, straight up reaction. But I've been meaning to read all of them for a long time, and I got halfway through by like the last 2 weeks of February. But I've been reading Murderbot
Yes.
by Martha Wells.
They're good.
And I love Murderbot so much. But yeah, I really enjoy. I haven't read anything else by Martha, but she has.
How many have you read?
I've read.
You just finished the third, didn't you?
I think I just finished the third. And there's
that's
three
the
or
text
four
you
more.
sent me.
But I've been I've been listening to the graphic audios, and they are fantastic.
Oh, nice. I just did normal audio, but I think I fell off after like 5. I don't know. They started, anyways,
blending together.
They're fun.
When you get there, you let me know.
They're really short, and they feel very like digestible in the same way that like I don't know, like a. I mean, I don't mean this in a derogatory way. I mean it's in a good way because I've read all of them and I like them a lot. They feel very digestible in the way that like a adult cartoon feels digestible, like a Bob's Burgers kind of thing. Which in the same way, you get to a certain point after 5 or 6, whatever, and you're like, okay, I know what I'm gonna get. Yeah. Do I need to listen to the next one? Which for me, if I'm in like a low place, I'm like, absolutely, I do.
Comfort read.
Yeah.
Cue it up.
Like a kind of like a comfort blanket read.
Yes.
Like this feels good.
Mm-hmm.
I have one. This is my moment to shine. I've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
She is sci-fi horror, but S.A. Barnes, so she wrote Ghost Station and like Dead Space, and she has one more coming out soon. She writes really, really good like science fiction horror, and they're all sort of set in like the future, but there are like some alien elements in some of them, and some of them are like just people, but like the future and space. And I think she does a really good job of like creating kind of an unreliable narrator that you root for, and somehow there's a happily ever after at the end. But I'm like obsessed. So
how scary is it?
Pretty scary. I read I did it in the audiobook, and I had no idea what was coming, and I was like, this is not something you listen to at night.
Okay.
So
Aaron, for us.
That's a no. That's a no for me.
That's a no for you. Spooky
What was
AF.
it called though?
Spooky
Ghost Station?
Yeah,
S.A.
this one's
Barnes.
Ghost Station.
Okay.
Pre-warning, this one is Aliens.
Okay.
And then her
I'm gonna
other
suggest
one,
that.
her other one is Dead Space, and that one is not aliens, but it's really good. It's like a luxury cruise ship goes missing, and then they board it, and everyone on it is dead, and they're trying to figure out how they all died.
Ghost ship.
Okay.
Very spooky.
Ooh, sweet.
Murder
Yeah.
mystery.
Murder mystery, but it's in space. It's in space.
Yeah.
I was looking at my Go, Aaron. Sorry.
I thought I was going to go with my author. Go ahead.
No, I was doing mine, so you go.
Oh my
Okay,
God. Somebody go.
Fonda Lee wrote the Jade City books. Those were very good.
Yeah.
Cross made me read them, so I'm looking forward to reading them at a normal pace, and not his sadistic slow pace.
And not under duress.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to like think while I read. I just want to read. Jeez.
Yeah.
But it's great, you know, world building and action and really good.
They're very cinematic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're fun.
Looking
She's
forward
actually
to
going to be at
rereading.
Awesome Con. I'm super excited.
That's right. Are you going to get to meet her or work her event?
Yeah. So I don't know. I probably won't. The book people are in a different section of the event than what I usually work, but let's see.
Ooh,
I'm definitely gonna. So if anyone needs anything signed, send it to me and I will go get it signed. I already told Thomas that I'd get his stuff signed.
You're gonna have just
I am gonna have like a
bag
suitcase
full.
of stuff just for her to sign. They're gonna be like, "You're fired." Sorry.
Never come back.
Anyways, I was looking at my story graph and realizing that I do not read a ton of sci-fi written by women, but Suzanne Collins would probably be mine.
Yeah.
Or going way, way back, Madeleine L'Engle, A Wrinkle in Time.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've got her there. She's hanging out
That
there.
was
Hanging out there.
legitimately, I do like remember some of the periodic table of elements because of that book still to this day. Like we would listen to that in the
So
car on
good.
like road trips growing up when I was like a kid, like
Yep.
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're so good.
That's a good one.
They're
Yep.
super good. Do you have a movie preference? Do you like the original or the one that has who's in the
I
new
have
one?
not
It's like a bunch of
seen the
celebrities.
movie. I have not.
Oh,
It's
Oprah.
with Reese
You gotta.
Witherspoon and Oprah. Yeah,
That's
no, I
right.
haven't
Yes.
seen it. I haven't seen the original either because that movie or that book
No,
was
I
like
haven't.
so important to me that, and I'm one of those people like, especially when I was a kid, I was aggressive if the movie deviated from the book at all. I was like, I hate the Harry
That's
Potter
fair.
movies. I hate them.
Yes, you sure do.
I sure
Yeah.
do.
Aggressively.
Lindsay can talk about this a lot.
Right?
I love it. I love it.
I'm looking
Okay,
through
so
my
when you
audio
first
list,
like
yeah,
proposed
and it's
that
all men.
question, oh yeah, when you
Sorry.
first proposed that question, which I didn't know that we were supposed to prepare, so my bad. But when you like first brought it up, I was like, the first name that came to mind was Mary Lou. I don't know if you guys read Warcross
Yeah.
or Wild. I love it.
She's
And
a
it's gonna be
that's a
so
good one.
true. Yeah, and I met her in person, and she's a sweetheart. And I've not read the Steel Striker Sky Hunter series, but I heard those were phenomenal too, and they're beautiful books. But that's my girl.
Yeah, those are
I love
really
her.
good.
Yeah.
What was her name? I haven't read.
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou.
I
Lou.
love Warcross. If you liked
Lu.
Ready Player
Lu.
One, it was kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank
Yeah,
you. I'm just
Mary-
writing it down.
Sky Hunter, like that came out a couple, like 2-3 years ago, but it was one of the first ones with the sprayed edges.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
Before
Gorgeous book.
everybody
And then
did
the
the sprayed
second one.
edges.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I loved Warcross and Wildcard too. And again, I met her in person and she was great. And also
Yeah.
Asian power.
Ah.
We love an Asian woman in authorship, so.
Absolutely. I just have, being cognizant of everyone's time, a real quick list, and then because I mean I will echo, it's actually hard to come up with this list. A lot are dystopian and then actually in teen rather than sci-fi. I wandered the store that I work in trying to come up with ones that I was like, oh yeah. I want to, Ursula K. Le Guin and Octavia Butler, I think need both shout outs for kind of both. If Mary Shelley created it, the two of them almost perfected it in a way. And then the ones I have behind me, I have so many, so like whatever. But Becky Chambers, I think, needs a shout out.
Yes. I was gonna say
Absolutely love Becky Chambers. Mary Robinette Kowell, who is more alternate history. Hers are there. As well as the one I want to kind of highlight how many women actually just write for the Star Wars, Marvel, all the IP addresses that people don't really think about. They don't have their own, or they do, and they're not as loved as some of them. NK Jemisin is one of them, who I absolutely love her, not sci-fi, but she writes for Star Wars. And then finally, I'm going to do one because it's the shirt I'm wearing, is complex female characters, because strong women are great, but I think they should be complex as well. This is designed by Sam Maggs. Sam Maggs is the author who, she actually interviewed Pierce when I saw him for Morning Star. So she is a fellow Howler. She writes for Star Wars, Marvel, Critical Role, Dungeons and Dragons. She has her own book, but two of the most important are not actually science fiction. They are, if you're watching and you can see, I have Wonder Women and Girl Squad. They're both about women in history that you should have learned about. And she also writes a lot about the fandoms. She has Fangirl's Guide to the Galaxy, which is all about empowering women in sci-fi fantasy fandoms, because I know we come out of really toxic fandoms. If you look at Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, a lot of us who were in those did not find a home there. Rather than Red Rising, I think this is incredible that we have 7 of us here. We could have probably had even more, but how fantastic it is how much this fandom appreciates and values women in comparison to some. So I wanted to just highlight Sam Maggs for that. And then very finally, because we've had her on the show before and she's one of our favorite howlers, is Taryn Davidson with Flame of Prometheus, one of our own howlers, and her book, and very great dystopian. So I just wanted to highlight those ones.
Those are good ads.
That was good.
I know.
I'm
I had
like
a whole
typing
scoop.
down
You can't see
things
that
I
was
need to read.
We need to make like
I
a
didn't
whole like
think
Google
about,
Doc list.
Yes,
That's
I'll
a
put it
great
in the
idea.
show notes. I'll send it to you guys,
Please
but I'll put
do.
it in the show notes, all of
Mhm.
them, as
Love
well
it.
as all the other books. There is actually, I just went through my full collection and was like, what other women authors in sci-fi is behind me? So they're all there. Mary Shelley gets to be up there twice though. But yeah, shout out to those. But yeah, Sam Meggs and Taryn got to stand up. The rest of them are lying down. Oh, and I'm going to make the case that some of V.E. Schwab's books are actually sci-fi and not fantasy. I'm going to make that
I see
case
the
if he
argument.
listens here.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I
Victoria's.
make an endorsement and then an addition to the list?
Yes.
I want to endorse Becky Chambers because she's amazing. Her Wayfarer series, which starts with Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, is fantastic. It's very like cozy sci-fi, which I feel like you don't get a lot in sci-fi. I feel like sci-fi can be very heavy and very heady and heady, right? And it's very cozy, it's very cute while still being like existential, and I think they're really fun. And everybody should read them. Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, Wayfarer series. And the second recommendation that I have is NK Jemisin's Broken Earth trilogy, which starts with the 5th season. Every single fucking book in this trilogy won a Hugo Award. She is an artist.
wow.
She is incredible. They are beautiful reads. The audiobook's great. The normal book, visual book is great. Highly recommend. Those
What
are my
was
two.
that one? I didn't type fast enough.
The 5th season.
We'll send them all to you, Aaron.
5th season by NK Jemisin.
Oh,
That one hurts
I
a
have
lot.
that book in my to be read.
That one did not. I did not read that one. That one read me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm scared.
That one's rough.
All right.
It's second person, which is really cool too.
She's been on she's been on my list for freaking ever. I've never read anything of hers, so I'm very
I think you'd love it. You got get in there.
yeah.
That's a good one.
Better than Shatter Me. Just kidding.
I'm really going through it right now, currently, as we speak. This is
Are you reading
book
it right now?
Yeah, we're doing it
Pascal
for
and
book
I
club.
are reading Shatter Me, and we're both having some trouble.
Is that smut?
No.
I don't think
No.
so. They're like
Isn't
17.
it a teen book?
I was
I was gonna say
Yeah.
that's in teen.
It's
Yeah.
for the youths.
Yeah.
It's for
and
the
it
youth.
shows
Sorry, I've been
Really?
reading too
I
much
bet if I-
smut because
I bet
the
if I
word
were
shattered
you and
me.
me, Aaron.
Put me in, coach. I'm not 16.
we also I also think that like so some of us have a different definition of smut than others. Aaron's is 14.
Mine's PG.
They have
Cassie's
hands
like,
on.
read this. I'm like, oh my goodness.
They kiss in
Well,
this one?
Whoa.
I may or may
What?
not be
Whoa.
rereading Priest for like the 17th time right now. So
I've been told I'm not
Oh
ready
my
for
God.
priest.
you're not. It's
You're
okay.
Okay.
Sweet summer child.
Okay.
With that
All right.
digression.
Well, we're way over Cassie's
go to bed.
cutoff. Cassie's like the fact that we kept her awake at 9:30 Eastern time, never 9 now. I want to thank all of you guys for joining. I want to thank everyone for listening. This has been incredible. Please let us know your thoughts, everything else. If you come at us with misogynist things, I'll just delete. Listen, I live in
Or
Canada.
don't delete.
Your freedom of speech
Screenshot.
does not matter.
Screenshot who says shitty things, and then we'll
Yeah.
share it, and then you'll get
There you
canceled.
go. Perfect. But yeah, thank you all. I also want to give huge shout out to Cassie, who, when I was driving home, it was actually Cassie who got to know even before Crescent that this was happening. Cassie, I was like, this is the idea I have. And then I went, hey, Salem and Crescent, we're doing this. And Salem did not have a choice whether or not to appear. And Crescent didn't have a choice that he wasn't coming on. So thank you so much for that. But yeah. All right, Cassie.
Well,
we'll
this
let
is
you go
so
to bed.
fun. Thank you guys. Good night.